Hello everyone, welcome to this video. We are the Psych Pioneers and this is the second part of the term project for Psychology 100 course at Capilano University. We will talking about the pseudoscientific theory called physiognomy. This video will be broadened down into major parts and we will share these major parts in turns. Let's begin. First, we will talk at the overview of this presentation. As you can see, we start with what is physiognomy, followed by the literal meaning of the word. Then we have brief version of its historical background, followed by some major contribution of this theory. After that, we look at some intents of physiognomy used in history, the main idea and supporting arguments, methodology, criticisms, and lastly, the conclusion follows through. Here are the definition of this theory according to two reliable resources. And here we have the roots of the word from ancient Greek. The roots are traced back to ancient civilization like Greece and China. In more modern times, the theory gained more scientific attention. According to Wikipedia, roots of the word physiognomy can be delivered from ancient Greek. In Greek, physio means nature and nom means judge or interpreter. So combining these terms together, we end up with physio plus nom or nature interpreter. After that, we're talking about the brief history of the physiognomy. The roots of physiognomy can be traced back to ancient civilization like Greece and China, where it was used to evaluate character and make important decisions. In the 18th and 19th century, physiognomies gained more scientific attention, with researchers studying the connections between facial features and personality traits. Physiognomy was sometimes referred to as anthroposcopy, a term originating in the 19th century.
Okay, next we will look at some of the most important phases associated with physiognomy. There are quite a few names who published their research, according to the times they lived in, of course, throughout history. For starters, we have Aristotle, who lived in ancient Greek and is one of the most earliest persons to discuss this theory and develop his own theory of early stages of physiognomy. He lived around the years of 384 to 322 BC. He released his work by the name of Physiognomica when he was 34 years old. It discussed the relationship between physical appearance and character traits. And as you can see on the screen, here we have a copy of Physiognomica. May not be the original, but this is what we could find on Google. After Aristotle, we have Giovanni Battista della Porta from Italy. He lived through the years of 1535 to 1615, and he lived for an average of 80 years of age. He published his work by the name of De Humana Physiognomia in 1586 when he was 51 years old. His book systematically explored the correlation between facial features and personality traits, which is very accurate to the laws of physiognomy. And again, as you can see on the screen, this is a copy of what his work looks like. Next in line after De La Porta, we have, and arguably one of the most crucial person on the list, Johann Caspar Lavater from Switzerland. He was active through the mid-1700s and published his work in 1775. He is, as you can see on the screen, he was active through the mid-1700s and published his work in 1775. This multi-volume work published in 3 years total, with the last edition coming out in 1778, which is 3 years later. It played a significant role of popularizing this theory in the majority of Europe. He had a positive vision of physiognomy and wanted to promote it for the love of mankind. By the way, all of these figures mentioned in the slides have interesting links included for providing more information about them and referencing their lives. As you can see on the screen, this is what his work looks like, and I believe this is one of the most original photos on Google. And after him we have Charles Le Brun, and he is from France. Charles Brun lived throughout the 17th century. He was a painter and a theorist whose work was compiled after his death, sadly, and published through the years of 1698 to 1702, about 9 years after his death. Following him, we go to Germany, where Franz Joseph Gall was born in 1758. He founded phrenology, a field similar to physiognomy. His work looked into the study of the shape of the skull and brain. He is the second most important practitioner in this field. According to his work, character traits could be determined by studying the shape of the skull and brain, and unfortunately we don't have a picture of what his work looked like. But moving on, we have, last but not least, Cesare Lombroso, who lived in the 19th century in Italy during the final stages of physiognomy. He was a criminologist who applied physiognomy and phrenology to criminology. He proposed that criminality could be identified through physical characteristics. He published his work in 1876 at the age of 41, and by now, as you can see, all of these practitioners were from Europe and not from other places, because most of physiognomy is based in Central Europe as compared to its origins that were in China and Greece. Thank you.
So we are going to talk about what's physiognomy all about, which is called main idea of physiognomy. So let's begin with the definition. So physiognomy is the study of human characteristics and emotions through the analysis of an individual physical characteristics. So there are many definitions of physiognomy, like it is the study of person physical characteristics, especially their face, that is used to determine things about their personality. So physiognomy persists that physical traits such as the shape of the forehead, nose, eyes, mouth, and jawline can provide insight into an individual's inner qualities. For instance, if someone head is broader, then it means that the person might be creative or intelligent. Let's take another example. Like the shape and size of nose can be linked to traits like leadership, ambition, and sensitivity. It means that the person might become a leader and have sensitive side inside it. So historically, this idea has been used to make judgments about a person's behavior, and the interesting thing is that physiognomy used to determine the reason that why offender did the crime, and based on the interpret report, important decisions would be made. So throughout history, different cultures integrated physiognomy into art, literature, political decisions, criminology, as well as early scientific studies. In recent years, the physiognomy was so popular, like in Han Dynasty in China. During this period, physiognomy was used in selecting government officials. The belief was that certain facial features could indicate loyalty, intelligence, and moral integrity.
And also in medieval Europe, physiognomy was integrated into medieval European scholarship and was often used by alchemists and scholars to make judgments about people, character, and potential. The practice was intertwined with the study of astrology and humors, and same in 18th and 19th century Europe. A Swiss pastor and philosopher, Lavater, is one of the most prominent figures, and his work popularized the practice across Europe and influencing social judgment and even legal decisions. So also there are links that are like provided if somebody wants more information, so that they can follow the links. And there are also Giovanni Porta, that is popularized physiognomy, and because of this it influenced social judgment. And also Nazi Germany. So, Nazi Germany used physiognomy to support their ideology of racial purity. So, the situation has totally changed in current scenario, because in modern time today most of the scientists believe that the nature of a person is totally depend on genetic, environment, and on individual, and it is not depend upon physiognomy. So this is all about physiognomy main ideas and what's all about physiognomy. Thank you.
After talking about the introduction, meaning of the word, and brief history and main ideas, we will discuss about how do physiognomists operate, methodological and its evidences, in which we briefly explains the three theories like observation, characterization and subjective interpretation. First of all, observation. Practitioners observe and analyze the physical features of an individual face. They believe these features can relieve insights into a person's character, traits and tendencies. The second one is characterization. Facial features are separated into categories that were thought to correspond with particular personality traits. Practitioners believe these features could relieve the character or certain behavior tendencies. And the third and last one is subjective interpretation. Much of the physiognomy is on subjective judgment and interpretations, often influenced by the practitioner's bias and cultural contents. This means the result vary from case to case, heavily dependent on mere facial features. After explaining these theories, there are some examples of facial interpreted by practitioners, which we explain: forehead, eyes, nose, lips, jawlines, round faces, and high cheekbones. First of all, we explain forehead. A high, broad forehead is often associated with intelligence and creativity of a person. The second one is eyes. Bright, expressive eyes can indicate a lively, curious personality, while deep-set eyes may suggest introspection and thoughtfulness. The third one is nose. The shape and the size of the nose can be linked to traits like leadership, ambition, and sensitivity. The fourth one is lips. Full sensual lips are often a more interpreted a sign of passion and emotionality, while thin lips may suggest a more reserved nature. And fifth one is jawlines may be interpreted as a sign of leadership. Last but not the least, round shape may be explained nurturing and caring personality of a person. And these are all the signs which I explain in my briefly paragraphs, and which clearly defines the physiognomy.
I discuss about the argument of physiognomy, indication of prediction. Physiognomy argues that the person character and personality traits and the moral qualities can be captured from their outer appearance and especially the features of their face. Consistency, the correlation are said to be found between the certain facial features and the specific character traits. They believe that these correlations can be observed and characterized to make judgments about the people. And then another one is judgmental factors. Mere study of faces and body language influenced personal and professional decision making in leadership, criminological investigations, and even social interactions were based on this. And then I discuss about the criticism of physiognomy. I discuss about the advantage of physiognomy. First one is physiognomy can be aided in forming quick judgments in situations where immediate decisions are necessary, such as social or business settings. This theory also help to gain a broad idea about the individuals as long as no bias or prejudice is formed. Then next one is it also has influenced art and literature, providing a framework for characters and development and storytelling based on the physical appearance. Using character identification techniques, it may enhance the overall of an art piece, although it may seem stereotypical as specific facial features mean specific characteristics and results are mostly pleasant. Then now I discuss about the disadvantage of physiognomy. First one is non-scientific. There is not any empirical base of correlation between the facial expressions and personality traits. Modern scientific research on the theory counteracted in the growth of the physiognomy and which ultimately lead to decline in uses and popularity over the time. And then next one is discrimination. People have biased assumptions about others which lead to discrimination because sometimes the face show that behavior which may not have. For example, if the wrongful of judgments concluded that an individual has the facial features of a criminal or untrustworthy liar, this may create a problems for that person and lead to being treated unfairly in society. Then I mention some reference on end of this slide, so if anyone need more help they can use it. Then another disadvantage of this is oversimplification. The physiognomy oversimplifies the complex natures and human personality and behavior. Personality and behavior are influenced by the multitude factors including genetics, environment, and personal experience, and facial expressions can change due to the mood, health, and other temporary factors, making them unreliable and indicators of personality. Then last one is cultural bias. Physiognomy often reflect the culture bias, making it unreliable across different societies. We saw this is the previous slide. For example, the hand density in China and 18th to 19th century Europe. As a result, physiognomic principles were implied into sport discriminatory laws and practice in the 19th and early 20th century. And I also mentioned some more reference in the end of this slide, so anyone if we want to use this one, they can help from this. Thank you.
So physiognomy. We'll talk about physiognomy. The study of inferring characters from facial features has a long history, with major contributors like Aristotle, Johann Caspar Lavater, Cesare Lombroso, and Francis Galton. Despite arguments linking appearance to personality through historical predecessent and biological determinism, modern science dismisses these claims due to lack of evidence, methodological flaws, discriminatory bias, and ethical concerns. Moreover, physiognomy now stands as a reminder of the important and rigorous scientific inquiry and the danger of superficial judgment.
Thank you everyone for listening, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Press the bell notification for more updates. And thank you. This is the end of the presentation.